we'll go ahead and get started. Like this is our monthly district advisor update meeting. Like we usually do, just go ahead and put your name and where you're from into the chat window, and that's where we're recording that. All right. First thing on the agenda, just want to remind everyone again, I hope everyone here knows, I'm sure you do, that our data conference is coming up. 2 days, April 29th and 30th. The first day, like usual, technically starts around noon. But we have a pre-conference session. We're going to do a quick Advisor 101 recap. And then we just have open time for a work day. We have, what was it, like 70, 80 districts signed up?
From the people, it's about 30, 40 districts.
30, 40 districts. So we have a bunch of people there. We're going to probably try to kind of split into groups and go around and help districts. It's really just free time to kind of work. Then we have the main session start, like I said, I think after lunch on the Monday. The general group sessions, big group sessions, AKA the plenary sessions, those are just like last year, where we'll be given the full advisor update, everything that's going on, looking back at the fall, talking about what's left in 1819, and talking about everything we have planned for 1920. And then the Tuesday, all day, is just breakout sessions. There's a few sessions related to advisor. I believe we'll be posting those sessions pretty soon, if we haven't already. You can go out to the NDE website, come to the events page and find this. I do not, yeah, I don't believe we have the session. Oh yeah, we do actually, okay. So I would encourage everyone on here to come out to that. Advisor validation, mostly this is just copied from last month. No big updates yet. We hope to roll out some more changes in the next couple of weeks here, though, before the conference. Hopefully some more reports, definitely some more of these nightly data builds, and as well as new roles for controlling access. So I'll just move on. Our advisor 3.1 upgrade for the 1920 school year. We did get the initial version finally posted out. The documentation has been posted for that as well. That's still mostly vendor documentation. I think I covered this last month, but just, you know, some of the big updates. FRL is collected as a program, which means you can put start and end dates on it, so you can tell us when a student changes during the year. We are now using EdFi's core calendar resource that they built for us. It's simpler than our old calendar. For example, we don't really need to collect all the event types anymore. It's still in there, it can be collected, but we no longer have to, you know, if you're having a snow day, you don't have to send us 2 records that say it's half a snow day and half a in-session day. We just now have a field that just collects how much in-session time you have on a particular date in that calendar. New field that we're collecting for 1920, unrelated to EdFi, it's just a new field to collect what type of EL program your EL participants are in. There's a couple of different options. I think we have it listed there, but we'll get into it more when we actually put together the district guidance the data elements for 1920. We are planning on releasing a few more updates for 1920 here, possibly next week. And I'm hoping this will be our final version of the 1920 data, basically. I've been talking to a few vendors. Everyone seems to like this idea. There will be an override field for a student's enrollment record where you tell us how many days in session that student is enrolled. Since it's not very feasible to really collect all the different calendars we need for all these specialized individual students. This field is basically just a number you tell us that says, you know, I know the kids in the regular 180-day calendar, but just trust me, the kid's only in session 40 days. So when we go do the ADA, ADM calculations, we'll just read that number. It's really an override field. You wouldn't fill it in for most of your students. It's just there to kind of avoid having to create a calendar just for one student. Also, we want to change the SPED programs. Right now, we always said SPED programs feed us the start date as the first time a student was ever in SPED. But if we do it that way, then we can't collect multiple records. So we're going to change SPED to work just like any other program, where the start date is just whatever is the first date SPED the student was receiving SPED services in the current school year. And then that way you can actually give us multiple records. So you could show changes to the SPED services of the kids throughout the year. So again, this is all 1920 changes. We won't see any of this for 1819, but we're trying to, you know, solve as many problems as we can for next year. Any questions about any of these changes? All right, moving on, focus on attendance. As you know, we had met with the NDE teams and legal and decided that attendance is required for all students. We've been getting a lot of feedback about that, and we may be changing our mind on some of that now. Specifically, birth to 3, I need to confirm that with legal again, but so I don't know for sure yet, but we're hoping to explicitly say birth to 3 kids are not counted here, but I will have a final answer for you probably at the conference. So we'll work that into our session. We're also talking about summer school and what's actually required there. I want to lean towards summer school kids don't require attendance, but I need to figure out how that will work for you, because I know some districts actually are using summer school calendars and other districts are not. You don't actually have to have a kid in a summer calendar to put them into a summer course necessarily, unless your SIS makes you do that. So I need to confirm that as well. So I should also have an answer about summer school by the end of this month. For now, though, for summer school, we are looking for courses and grades the same as what we used to collect in NSSRS. If it's like a credit recovery course, I don't think we count that as summer school. It's just whatever you reported to us as summer school grades before, that's what we will be looking for now. You can either report it in 1819 or 1920, just like we've always done. The attendance question just kind of comes up because in order to report kids in a summer school course, they have to at least have an enrollment record, which means they have to be in some calendar. So we'll come up with some guidance on that. And yeah, you know, like I said before, I've met with some vendors. We're going over ideas to try to make things easier for 1819. Like I said, our real big fixes aren't going to come until 1920 though. So really all we could say is for 1819 attendance, you know, do the best you can, reporting absences and putting kids in the calendar. Core section enrollments, no big update there. I have been looking at a list of schools that don't have any course sections. And I think I've decided we'll probably just turn that into like a warning. You aren't required to have that data until the end of the year, but it's kind of suspicious to me if you don't have any courses at this point in the year. So I might just turn that into a warning that you'll see in advisor validation. You know, warning's not something you have to get cleared off, but that would be helpful for districts to see it. All right, moving on. New thing we're finally announcing. We've been working on this for a month or two already. We are working on a new person ID system for next school year, which is replacing the unique ID system. We don't expect this to be a big transition for districts. The new system is going to replicate basically all of the district features that you had in unique ID, plus any improvements that you know, we're working with the help desk here to help us design it, to you know, avoid the little things that annoy us about unique ID. We'll be using this in 1920 in the fall, so we should be deploying the initial version here in the summer. There's a session at the conference. One of those breakout sessions will be all about the new person ID system, and it'll have screenshots, and we'll be walking through what it looks like. So that one might be popular to go to, but like I said, we hope this new system works very similar to the old system, at least at the start. Technically, the new system has a simpler file format, but it will also support uploading and downloading unique ID style files. So SIS vendors don't necessarily have to build a new file format to support this, but they may want to. So we'll be sure to get the documentation of that format out here sometime in the next couple of months. In the future, we are building the system because we will want to integrate it with Advisor. EdFi has ways we can use EdFi to pass data to the student ID system in order for your SIS system to actually request student ID. I forget, I feel like PowerSchool maybe has already done this in some other states, maybe Campus. The idea is that you would be able to put a student into your SIS and actually get the student ID right there, just by the system talking to us through the back end. This won't be available in the initial version, but it's something we'll be looking at in the future. We're calling this person ID because we intend for this to be both the student and the staff ID system someday. That hasn't happened yet, so for now we still have the NDE staff ID system separately. But in the future, they will be joined into one big system. Technically, it's just a person ID, unique ID. So technically, if someone's a student and then later becomes a teacher, they still have the same ID. So, I don't know, any questions about that? Concerns about the new system? Everyone just trust me when I say it'll be super easy to use now. take your silence as a yes. Vendor status updates, nothing big going on, really. PowerSchool, I believe, is planning on releasing the incident management publishing with Advisor in the April release, so that would be the last Friday in April. Amy, let me know if I got that wrong, but I believe that's what we're targeting. SRS has been working on a few tweaks. I believe they have that ready to go very soon, if that hasn't rolled out already, actually. Just a couple things to make deleting and republishing easier, I believe. TestWiz at WA, we know they're still testing it with some districts. Do not believe everyone is using it yet. I believe I've heard that they are now using Advisor both for MAP rostering and NSCAS rostering. However, we have heard that with the NSCAS, you still may need to, even if you delete the student or transfer them out in Advisor, you may still have to manually update your roster through, I guess, NWA's website. I'm not even sure what that looks like. So hopefully, I hope to work with them and kind of tighten up their process in the future. It's very much a kind of a beta product at this point, their integration with Advisor. So just to let you know, we are still working with them on that, and we get a few tickets about that. We'll try to help you work through those. All right, that's everything I wanted to cover this month. Next meeting is a week after the conference, May 8th. Any other questions, topics people want to talk about this month? And yet you can unmute yourself if you're trying to talk. All right. Well, I guess everyone's just on board this month. Thanks for joining, everyone. Great to have you. And we'll talk to you next month or at the conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Max.